staff, for supporting it, and for all of you for coming out. Thanks to my fellow veterans for your service. I think all of us have shared that experience. We know what it means, and certainly are proud of it. And thanks for coming out today. When you talk to people who've been in the military, none of them will ever tell you they weren't in the military. I don't know if you ever noticed that or not, but the words that we all use is we served in the military. And there's a real distinction there because, that's what being in the military is all about. It's about service. It's not about going to a job. It's serving your country. It's serving you, all of us today, are being served by the people who still wear the uniform or are out there in harm's way at this very moment. In service, if any of you are familiar with it, and many of you I'm sure are, means sacrifice. And veterans are not the only ones who sacrifice, but really that's the essence of service, is you're putting the needs of others over your own needs. You're trying to do something that benefits others versus benefiting yourself. That's what sacrifice and service is all about. And all of you make sacrifices. I don't know if you really even pay attention to it, but most of you would, on certain days, would probably rather sit there and watch cartoons than go off to school, or you'd probably rather be out on the football field, the basketball court, than in the classroom. But you're making those sacrifices because you know it's the right thing to do for yourself and for your community, because that's what we need you to do. We don't need just football players, or we don't need a bunch of people that know how to watch cartoons. We need smart people who can grow up and become parts of our community and keep this wonderful place alive and well. That sounded like it hurt, whatever that was. So you're familiar with sacrifice, and again, that's what serving in the military is all about. I'm going to tell you a quick story about the most amazing sacrifice that I witnessed in my time in the military. I know you've probably heard in the bio that I got shot down in Somalia in 1993. And those of us who are in the military, I think we recognize the fact that something bad could happen to us, but we all sort of put it aside and accept the risk and go on and do what we need to do because, for one thing, we know we're being counted on to do it, and secondly, I don't think most of us really believe anything bad will happen to us. I think we're confident that we'll get through the day okay. So when I got shot down, it came as quite a shock, as you might imagine. So here we are on the ground. I'm badly injured. I got a broken back, broken leg. I've been unconscious. The crew is injured bad. We can't move. We can't get out of there. We're surrounded. We're in the middle of the city. Hostile forces all around, and they're starting to basically overrun the crash site and come in and try to capture all of us. So it's about as bad a situation as you could be in. And there are two other soldiers on board a helicopter flying around overhead. Their names are Gary Borden and Randy Shugart. And if you're in the military, you probably heard their names before. They're pretty well known these days. At the time, they were Delta Force operators, some of the most elite war fighters that have ever walked the planet. And they looked down on our crash site and they realized that if they didn't do something, if they didn't take some kind of action, that we were probably going to be overrun and in all likelihood killed. Nobody ordered them to do it. Nobody asked them to do it. They volunteered to take action because they knew that if they didn't do something, in all likelihood we would die. So they got on the radio and they asked their commander, who's their boss basically, for permission to be dropped off. Now initially the commander looked at the situation and said, "It looks too dangerous. I don't want you guys to go in there. I realize that we need to do everything we can to help the folks that are on the ground, but it's just too difficult a situation." So we told them no. He didn't let them go in. But Randy and Gary didn't take no for an answer. They continued to orbit the crash site and look down and keep track of what was going on, and they got back on the radio and they asked the commander 2 more times for permission to be put in. And finally, he realized that there was nothing else that we could do, and he gave them permission to come into the crash site. Randy and Gary got me out of the aircraft. They helped protect me and my crew for as long as they could until, despite their best efforts, they were killed by enemy gunfire. But their actions are the reason that I'm here today. So when you think about sacrifice, as many of you probably know, it says in the Bible, there's no greater love than to lay down your life for your friend. That's exactly what Gary and Randy did that day. So it's the most significant sacrifice I've ever witnessed in my life, the most amazing service to a fellow military person that I've ever witnessed. And for that, they were posthumously, which means after their death, posthumously awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. At the time, it's the highest honor that our nation bestows on our military. And at the time, it had been about 20 to 25 years since a service person had received the Medal of Honor for action in combat. So it gives you some sense of how significant those actions were. There have been more Medals of Honor in Iraq and Afghanistan, but at the time, it had been 2 decades since that had happened. So that's the kind of sacrifice we're talking about when we talk about veterans. Now, not all veterans give their lives. Not all veterans end up in very dangerous situations, but they all give something. I don't know if any of you have had family members that have had to deploy and you had to say goodbye to them and see them go off for 12 months or 15 months. That's a pretty tough thing to do. And while they're there, they're worried about you just as much as you're worried about them. And it really, it's truly giving a lot. And I know most of you are aware we've been at war now for 10 years. So many of the current soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines have deployed multiple times in these recent conflicts. So imagine, what a sacrifice that is to the family to see a parent go off to war possibly 2, 3, 4 times, as you're growing up through your life. So we truly do owe a debt of gratitude to our veterans. Without their sacrifice and their service, we would not enjoy the liberties that we enjoy today. We wouldn't have the freedoms that we enjoy. We wouldn't feel secure in our hometowns. There's a lot of places in the world where you can't go out on the street and feel safe and secure because they don't have a military defending them like we do. So let's not take it for granted, and obviously the fact that you're having this ceremony today proves that you don't take it for granted. Let's recognize that sacrifice and that service, and as you see in your handout, there's a little poem there on the back page that I think says it all. If you have an opportunity, tell a veteran thank you, and you're all doing that today, by the way, and I personally thank you very much. But take the time to do that. If you see somebody in uniform or you know somebody who has served, tell them how much you appreciate it. Tell them how much, what their sacrifice means to you, and continue to have this wonderful event year after year, because I know the folks that are here today certainly appreciate it as much as I do. God bless you all. God bless America, and thanks again to our veterans.
this time, we'll have a moment of silence and remembrance of those who lost their lives in battle. Please take some time to bow your heads and close your eyes.